All right, so for this video here, we're going to be talking about the permutation combinations and their uses. So we're going to get into it first off with the idea of the factorial. So we discussed this as we introduced in the 11.4 video for pre-calc, the idea of the factorial symbol. I'm going to do an example right here, 5 factorial, which you know is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which if we were to do that, 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, we get 120. Now, obviously, we want a much quicker way, more efficient way of doing that, especially for more complicated situations. So the way that we'll do that is using the factorial symbol. And where we find that is, so we'll first type in the 5, and then we're going to go over to the math button. Select that. And we have these 5 options up here. The fourth option is probability. That's where the factorial symbol lies, as well as our permutation and combination formulas, the NPR and NCR. But there's my factorial symbol. So I select that. My screen now says 5 exclamation mark. Hit enter, there's my 120. So anytime you want the factorial symbol, you're just going to math, scrolling over to the probability section, and selecting the exclamation mark. Make sure you have your number first, what you're trying to do your factorial for. All right, next up is using the permutation and combination and showing how the calculator does that. All right, so we first discussed the permutations. We had a formula for that, using the N's and the R's and doing it all by hand with factorials. So the calc can do all this for us. It's a built-in calculation, built-in formula. So we're going to find the same spot we found the factorial symbol. We're going to go over to math, and we're going to scroll to probability, and we're going to select NPR. And they give us these boxes. Then we'll do 12 in the left box, 7 in the right box to make it look like our question. We hit enter, and then there's our answer, our 3,991,680. Now, the newer TR-84s have that box option that we've explored multiple times. You just kind of fill into the formula. The more older calculators have a classic version where it's based off parentheses and commas. So I'm going to show that real quick. So I'm going to go over to mode. I'm going to turn it into a classic mode calculator now. So now when I go into math, I scroll over to probability. I select NPR. You see that there's a blinking cursor after it. That's a problem because I need to put R there, but there needs to be N before it. So what we're going to do is we're going to type the N value first, 12. We're then going to go to math, over to probability, NPR, then type the 7, and there it gives us the exact same answer. All right, so if you have a TI-83 or an older 84 that gives you the NPR with a blinking cursor, not the boxes, you're going to need to type the first number in before you do your NPR possibility, and then you'll type the last number in, and then you'll hit enter. Okay? So that's our permutations. Combinations will be the same kind of thing, and that's on the next example. All right, so here we want to do 9C2. So we're going to calculate in the same kind of way. I'm back into class in math print mode for the new 84. So we go over to probability. We select NCR, and again, we fill in the boxes here for the 9 and the 2, and we hit enter, and there's our 36 for the N9C2. You're going to use the combination button more often than the permutation button, especially because of the binomial theorem that we'll be discussing in the 11.5 video for the pre-calculus class. So just keep that in mind, though the permutation can still show up. And obviously, again, I'm not going to do it this time. I did with the permutation example. If you have an older calculator that's in the classic mode, you have to do the 9 first, then the NCR button, and then the 2 to hit enter to do it correctly. Same as we did for example number 2. All right, as always, appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.